Hi, welcome back. I'm Madeline and this is Goheen Designs. Today we'll be going through my May 2025 planner spreads. I'm going to be using a time lapse for when I'm actually creating it and also showing you some of the pages in better detail, as well as giving a voiceover to explain some of my choices. Okay, let's get started. First up we have the quote. So every year I have a word of the year. That word is still. And then every month I pick a quote that uses that word. For May, my quote is, "For time and the world do not stand still. Change is the law of life." So I went with kind of a nature-y theme. Actually used Adobe Firefly to come up with this landscape, printed it out on sticker paper. Very simple, very easy. The next page is my monthly overview calendar. This is where I record any appointments I have, any meetings, birthdays, things like that. The rest of the decoration in my journal for this month really is rocks. So my landscape picture kind of got me onto a river rock theme, which then I used Adobe Firefly again to generate some river rock stickers that I then printed on sticker paper and just cut out individually, which was a bit of a hassle, but cut them out and stuck them all over just for some extra decoration that could be pretty quick. To make these numbers in my calendar, I used my stamp set, but then colored onto the stamp instead of using like a stamp pad, and it worked out pretty well because I wanted a certain color palette and the only stamp colors I have are blue and black. Next I have my aims page is what I call it. So it's just a whole bunch of lists basically of different things that I would like to accomplish for the month. I go back to my yearly collections journal to look at my goals for the year, and then I pick out steps from those goals to do every month theoretically, as well as, you know, if there are certain things that I need to buy that month, certain things that need to be cleaned. You know, if my van needs a deep clean or something, I can put that on the list. Then I have a space set up for my monthly review, which I'll do at the end of the month. I have several different stats that I track. I'll write those in later, so this is a pretty easy page. Also a space for journaling. I do that at the end of the month as well. I also have a spot for my finances where I'll write in what we have at the beginning and the end of the month in each of our virtual theoretical envelopes. The habits page, I track a lot of habits. So across the top, I put the number of the day, and then down the side, I write all the different habits that I am tracking. This looks overwhelming, but it's really not. A lot of this is just optional, and there are several things in here that I only try and do once a week, but I just have to track whether or not it has happened this week in order to know if I have done it at all, because my memory is shot. I use a system where I have a high-low bars for my habits. So for the low bar, I use a circle, and then if I reach the high bar, I color it in. So for example, walking. I would like to go on a walk twice a day, ideally. So the low bar is if I go for one walk, and the high bar is if I go for two. The last few pages in my spreads are all for the weeks. So what I'm doing currently is I have a weekly dashboard on the left side and just a space for notes on the right. So on the dashboard, I have a menu for the week. I have another set of like my weekly habits, because sometimes it helps to write things down in different places. I have a very small weekly calendar just where I remind myself of anything that's going on that week. And then I use like a rolling tasks list. I forget what this method is called, but you have, you know, all the days of the week in the column, and then in the rows you do different tasks, and that way you can use kind of a marking system for whether or not you've worked on a task, even if you haven't completed it. At least that's the way I use it. So let's say I need to get my sister a birthday gift. I may work on that and look for something on Monday, but I didn't complete it. And so that can happen with a lot of your to-dos. And if you go down the entire to-do list and you haven't been able to cross anything off, it can be a little bit depressing. So this method means that I can go in and mark a dot on Monday to say that I worked on this, and then maybe a dot on Tuesday because I actually bought the gift. And in that case, I take my dot and I draw a line all the way over to the task and I cross it off, and that way I know it's actually done. The circles that go down the side of the task list, I use those for, I have like a weekly review where there's like a whole bunch of things that ideally I do at the end of the week to get prepared for the next one. So when I'm feeling extra productive, I will actually go through those and mark them off on the circles. But a lot of times I'm just surviving, and that's more of an aspirational thing. But it's helpful to have it there just in case I can manage it. So here you go. These are my finished May spreads. I hope you've enjoyed seeing my planning. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below.